We are literally surrounded by concrete. But what if I told you that one of its most critical ingredients is actually an industrial waste product? Today, we're going to dig into how this fine, powdery stuff from coal power plants isn't just trash. It's actually making our world stronger and, believe it or not, a whole lot greener.
Okay, so get this. Every single year, coal power plants all around the world churn out over 500 million tons of this material. That is a staggering amount of waste. I mean, it's enough to fill a giant football stadium every single day. All of that has to go somewhere, right?
But here's where the story takes a fascinating turn. What if this massive waste stream isn't a problem at all? What if it's actually a solution in disguise, a key to building a more sustainable future? To really understand how that's possible, we first need to look at where this mystery material even comes from. So let's pull back the curtain on coal power's most useful secret.
This right here is fly ash. So when pulverized coal is burned at incredibly high temperatures, the minerals inside it transform. Now the heavier stuff, that's called bottom ash, and it just falls to the bottom. But the lighter, finer particles, that's the fly ash, get carried up with the flue gases. And right before they can escape the smokestack, they're captured by special filters. So what is it that makes this captured dust so special? Come on, let's zoom in and take a closer look at its physical and chemical makeup to really understand its hidden potential. You know, if you could put fly ash under a microscope, you'd see this: tiny, perfectly spherical, glass-like particles. Just think of them as microscopic ball bearings. This unique shape is absolutely crucial because it lets the particles flow really smoothly, which, as you can imagine, is a total game changer when you mix it into other materials like concrete. And chemically, well, it's mostly made of these four oxides. Now, the ones you really want to remember are silicon dioxide and aluminum oxide. Those are the reactive powerhouses that give fly ash its cement-like abilities. The amount of calcium oxide is also super important because that percentage actually determines what kind of fly ash we're dealing with, which brings us to our next point. Right, so not all fly ash is created equal. The American Society for Testing and Materials, or ASTM, classifies it into two main types. Think of Class F as a specialist. It comes from harder coals and has these really strong pozzolanic properties, which we'll get to in just a second. Class C, on the other hand, comes from softer coals and is more of an all-rounder. It has more calcium, which makes it not only pozzolanic but also self-cementing. And this distinction is key for engineers when they're choosing the right tool for the job. Okay, so I've said the word pozzolanic a few times now. Let's break down what that chemical magic is all about. This is how a simple powder makes one of the world's strongest materials even stronger.
Here's the deal. By itself, fly ash doesn't really have much cementing power. But when you put it in the right environment, specifically one with calcium hydroxide and water, it kicks off this powerful chemical reaction, and it forms brand new, super strong cement-like compounds. Here's how that magic actually works inside concrete. When you mix regular cement with water, it hardens, but it also creates this weak byproduct called calcium hydroxide. This is where fly ash becomes the hero. The reactive silica in the fly ash essentially eats up this weak byproduct, and in its place, it creates more of the good stuff, that strong gel that gives cement its power. This secondary reaction fills in all the microscopic pores, making the final concrete way denser and stronger from the inside out. Now, this reaction is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. As you can see here, fly ash concrete gains its strength a bit more slowly at the very beginning. But over time, as that pozzolanic reaction keeps going, it doesn't just catch up, it ultimately surpasses the long-term strength and durability of traditional concrete. Pretty cool, huh? So, this isn't just some fascinating science experiment happening in a lab. These properties have profound real-world benefits for both the construction industry and, importantly, for the environment. Let's talk numbers for a second. Research shows that by replacing just about 20% of the cement in a concrete mix with fly ash, you can increase its final compressive strength by up to 25%. So you're using less cement and you get a stronger product. That's a win-win. And here is the huge environmental win. Cement production is responsible for about 8% of global CO2 emissions. That's more than the entire aviation industry combined. For every single ton of fly ash you use to replace cement, you prevent nearly a ton of CO2 from ever entering the atmosphere. It's a massive, massive reduction in the carbon footprint of construction.
And look, this isn't just theory. Just look at India. In the 2024-2025 fiscal year, the country generated over 340 million tons of fly ash and managed to utilize an incredible 98% of it. They did this through smart government policies, like mandating its use in construction projects near power plants. It's a powerful blueprint for the rest of the world. So where does it all go? This chart breaks it down beautifully. You can see the biggest slices of the pie are for roads and for cement production, but it's also being used to make bricks, fill old mines, and a bunch of other things. It's a really versatile solution that's integrated across their entire economy.
And the innovation doesn't stop there. I mean, what else can you do with this stuff? It's a key ingredient in things called geopolymers, which are a low-carbon alternative to cement. It's used to stabilize soil for building foundations. It creates bricks that are actually stronger than traditional clay. And its porous structure even makes it great for absorbing pollutants. The list goes on.
All right, let's zoom out for a second and look at the big picture here. Fly ash is a perfect example of the circular economy in action, but it's really important that we see the whole story.
Now, it's not a perfect silver bullet. We have to be honest about that. Fly ash contains trace amounts of heavy metals like arsenic and lead. If it's just dumped in unlined ponds or becomes airborne dust, these can pose some serious environmental and health risks. And that's exactly why proper management, like locking it away safely inside concrete, is absolutely critical. Ultimately, the story of fly ash is a really powerful one. It shows us that by understanding the fundamental science of a material, we can use technology and innovation to turn what was once a massive environmental liability into a truly valuable asset. And this leaves us with a fascinating final question to think about. As the world slowly transitions away from coal, the supply of this incredible resource is going to shrink. So what other industrial byproducts are out there just waiting to be understood? Where are we going to find our next wonder waste to help build a more sustainable world?